I can't keep up with all these new organisations. The latest apparently is Just Stop Oil. And Just Stop Oil want to stop oil, and they are apparently going to heal the world. And this is apparently why Ash and I couldn't fill up our 6-litre Bentley earlier on today. Is that right?
Apparently so, yeah. Disgraceful. Get out of the way because we need our petrol.
Yeah. Neil Rothnie is one of the spokesmen for Just Stop Oil. Mr. Rothnie, good evening to you. Welcome to the show. Apparently, you have an enormous amount of spokespeople.
Yes, that's interesting.
Good, fine. Tell me, just so I'm clear, just exactly what you're hoping to achieve and how long you think it's going to achieve what you want to actually do.
Well, the demand of Just Stop Oil is fairly short and simple. We want to see the end. We want to see no more licenses for drilling, no more exploration for oil and gas, no more development of new deposits of oil and gas from the North Sea.
I think your leader, whatever her name is, the little lady, I think your leader has already done that, hasn't she? I mean, she's stopped the oil industry in Scotland actually bringing anything in.
You'll have to be a bit more specific on that. What leader are we talking about here? Who?
Well, who's the leader of the Scottish Parliament?
Well, I thought you were talking about Just Stop Oil.
I beg your pardon? Isn't the Scottish government led by, I always call her Jimmy Cranky because she reminds me, Nicola Sturgeon, hasn't she done a lot of this in Scotland? Isn't she actually making the oil industry curtail its business? I thought she was.
The North Sea oil and gas industry is not under the remit of the Scottish government. It's a UK government thing. So whatever she thinks is not really that important.
But why don't you use democratic means, like you meant to do?
Well, there have been many attempts to use democratic means. And protest is a democratic mean anyway.
It's not really a protest, is it, blocking things?
No, you're right. It's not really a protest. It's civil disobedience.
Exactly.
No, it's a terrorist act, actually, if you look at the law. But let's leave that for a minute.
I don't think you'll find it's a terrorist act. In fact, I think
I'm telling you that it is. It's not up for discussion.
Wouldn't invite a terrorist on to speak. A responsible.
Oh God, I've had terrorists throughout my 50 years on the air.
Listen, I am a 69-year-old grandfather.
So what?
14 years working in the North Sea oil industry.
I couldn't give
all the clearances that were required.
I couldn't care less. I'll tell you something.
Not a terrorist.
Well, I think you are, actually.
You block people getting into hospital.
Shush a minute. Just a minute, Ash. I think you are. I happen to be older than you and obviously more responsible and a grandfather as well. And I wouldn't do some of the ridiculously stupid... I wanted to have a decent conversation with you, but you want to be aggressive like the rest of you. You are not democratic. You are carrying out terrorist acts because you are making life dangerous for people. And if you don't stop it, the police are obviously useless. But if you don't stop it, the public... No, you can smirk as much as you want to. The public are getting fed up with you, I'm glad to say. You should be embarrassed at your age to be behaving like this.
Well, look, you can't have a respectable or a responsible conversation with a man you call a terrorist. So let's get off on the right foot here.
No, I'm not prepared to do that because I have no respect for you whatsoever.
Oil are not terrorists.
Yes, you are.
We are very, very ordinary people, many very young people.
If you look at what describes a terrorist in the law, you are actually going down all the lines of terrorism. So I would be very careful. It's unfortunate that we have a really rotten police force at the moment who don't seem to know what to do for the best. But I don't think the people of this country are going to actually tolerate you for much longer, mate. I really don't. Because if you got in my way when I was trying to go to work, I wouldn't be nice.
Meaning?
Would it be my fault? If you try and stop me doing what I'm legally allowed to do, and I have an altercation with you and you come off worse, whose fault is it?
You know what we're trying to do. We are trying to amplify an alarm that's been raised by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. We're trying to amplify the alarm that's been raised by
The alarm has been amplified. It is up to the people to decide.
Finish the question? There's no point in me being here unless you ask me. You've asked me a question, let me finish.
I've heard all this rubbish before. You lot spouted out the whole time.
We are trying to do. And yes, of course, you do get thugs who, when they get frustrated, will attempt to abuse these young people who are...
I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to a young person. I'm talking to a man not quite as old as myself who really doesn't seem to know what he's doing and for some strange reason has got himself back to front. You should be bloody ashamed of yourself.
Well, I'm not.
Why aren't you?
But it's not going to work, is it?
Dash, just let's hear what he has to say. Why aren't you ashamed of yourself? Why do you think you should dictate to the rest of us what we do?
You brought me on the programme presumably so that you could understand why Just Stop Oil.
No, I got you on the programme to tell me why you are behaving like morons. That's what I got you on the show to do.
Right,
why are you behaving in a moronic way where you're trying to dictate to other people what they should or should not be allowed to do?
I'm on the programme, presumably because you want your listener...
Answer the question. Never mind what your thoughts are. Answer the question.
You've rattled out about 6 questions.
Well, answer one. You've not answered any.
Right. The first answer, why we are doing the action. We're taking the action, as I said, to amplify a warning that's been given. A warning that's very, very clear to most people on this planet. That if we don't stop using oil and gas, the temperatures, the average temperature of the world will go up way beyond what the climate will withstand. That's why we're doing it.
We know that message. We've got that message.
Well, there you go. You've had it again.
Yeah, but if we don't want to listen to it, or if we think you're wrong, then it is entirely up to us in a democracy to ignore it.
Well, absolutely. It's your programme. I mean, you can spout anything you want on this
I'm not
programme.
talking about the programme. I'm talking about reality. You do not have the right to stop other people from doing what they choose to do. You have the right to say what you are saying now, of course, and I'm giving you free speech, but you don't have the right to inflict your views on people who don't agree with you.
We have the right to stop, if we can, the drilling of new oil wells on the North Sea.
We most certainly do not.
We
most certainly do not.
If we can, we have this right.
You
don't have that right at all.
Social license involved here. The oil industry operate under social license. They operate because they're allowed to.
You do not have that right. Don't go anywhere. Back after this. Back. Neil Rothnie, spokesman for Just Stop Oil, the organisation that thinks they can dictate to the rest of us how we live our lives. Mr. Rothnie doesn't seem to understand that he isn't in charge of anything. He can, of course, have his views. Everybody can. He can say whatever he wants. Of course he can. But he can't get in front of me or Ash or anybody else and tell us we're not going to do something, because that's going to start a conflict.
That'd be anarchy. If everyone could do that with any idea, that, it would just be anarchy.
So you're an anarchist as well then, Neil. How do you respond to that?
I'm not an anarchist, no.
Of course you are.
Well, you're not using the rule of law or democracy.
No, of course I'm not. I've explained to you who I am. I'm a man who's concerned about the future of my grandchildren. I'm a man who's got a 40-year knowledge of the oil and gas industry, knows how it operates, and recognises the fact that despite the fact that they talk about a just transition, what in reality their policy is business as usual.
Yeah, and why did you work in the oil and gas industry for 40 years, took their money, probably have a really nice cosy pension as well at the end of it, and then start behaving like this? Why did you pack it in years ago?
Why did I work? Well, we all work. We work at whatever jobs we do. It was
you're still taking your pension then?
We were keeping the lights on. That's what we thought.
You're a complete and utter idiot, aren't you, really, to be honest? I mean, you're a hypocrite. You're carrying out these terrorist acts against people because you are eventually going to hurt somebody. Some people have already been injured and hurt because they couldn't get to hospital appointments, and you sit there smugly thinking you're saving the world. Yet the science changes. And the science, I've been doing this 50 years, and when I first started, we were going to go into an ice age. Then we were going to have flooding. We're going to have all kinds of things. And actually, the climate's changing, always changed, will always change. We may have sped it up. But then people know that, and it is up to us to decide how we go forward. It's up to us, the people, the democratic amount of people who don't agree with you.
Well, I guess as I'm an idiot, I'll have great difficulty in responding to that, whatever that was. Wisdom, I suspect.
Good night. Thank you. Look, there's no point in talking to you anymore because you're really being a complete and utter prat and annoying the frig out of me. I mean, I really am getting angry. I wanted to have a decent conversation with somebody. And, you know, here's a man who's worked in the oil and gas industry, very proud of it for 40 years, taken the payment, and he's on the pension, and now he wants to stop you, me, and everybody else being able to heat our homes and drive our cars.
Freeze to death and not be able to eat and just sit there like starving.
I'm sick of them, okay? And if any policeman wants to come on and say, well, you were very disrespectful to him, that's a hate crime, I'm ready for you guys as well. Because have we got a free country? Do we have freedom of speech?
Yeah, well, exactly. You know, you've got to go about it. If everyone went and blocked things because they didn't like what was going on, you know, it would be anarchy.
It is anarchy at the moment.
It is anarchy, yeah.
Because there are petrol stations who can't get fuel because these morons are stopping it going out. One twoller, nearly use a very rude word, took an angle grinder into an oil refinery. Imagine a spark got in the wrong place. Because these kids and these old guys, they're as thick as anything.
Yeah.
What does he think he's actually doing?
I think he's probably retired, just wants something to do. Found a cause. Often they do, you know, when they get to...
You know, and patronises me because he thinks he's older than me.
You're older than him by a long way.
He can shut up now. I mean, we've interviewed loads of them. The interesting thing, guys, is they will all come on the programme. And I think they will go on any show, and I keep saying I'm not going to have any more because they queue up to come on because they think they have right on their side, which is really worrying because this is fanaticism.
Yeah.
It is fanaticism.
Well, it is a form of terrorism, isn't it? Trying to force their will.
If you look at what in the rule of law terrorism is...
I've had it, yeah.
You read it out and you will find out that most of the things they're doing...
I know,
they could be prosecuted for that. But they're not. Because what is wrong with the police force in this country? What is wrong with you guys? If you're a policeman listening at the moment, you should hang your bloody head in shame.
You just take them away. I mean, surely Tony Blair brought in laws to stop these refineries being blocked when the farmers did it, when it was a good reason to do it and actually helped us out and got the petrol prices down. So why haven't they just moved them out of the way?
Funny thing, I heard somebody going on about this earlier today on a programme. But they were a person who'd been going on and on supporting the truck drivers in Canada. And I was thinking to myself, you just supported the truck drivers in Canada who snarled the whole place up to the same thing, and you're against these guys. I'm against the whole bloody lot of people getting in our way because they think they are right.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get in the way.
It's not on.
Walk round with a placard and shout, and that's it. That's how you protest.
Yeah. You can protest, don't get on the road. Because if Ash and I accidentally hit one with our car...
we get done.
We would be in trouble.
I mean, you can understand the suffragettes because they didn't have the, right to vote, did they?
Why did you bring the suffragettes up?
No, because they had to do civil disturbance, but because they didn't have the ballot box.
Exactly.
So it's
that doesn't conflate with what.
No, but they go on about civil disturbance. They don't need to. They've got the ballot box, you know.
But if we
could all say,
we
want Brexit. We want to remain. They could have started riots until we remain. You know what I mean? Well, they did try various tricks, but.
Well, they did.
It failed.
I hear nothing coming out of the mouth of the leader of the opposition in this country about these people. No. You know, a man who doesn't even know what a woman is should be ashamed of himself.
Know whether she should have a penis or not. He doesn't know.
Well, I don't think women should have penises. I think men should be allowed to keep those.
But you know, apparently it can be.
Well, yeah, if you can change, yeah, that's fine. But, I mean, some of the ridiculously stupid stuff that comes out of some of these people. Anyway, that's another thing. I want to stick on this because I'm sick of it. And if this carries on, if these people are allowed to carry on, there was a video out on, I think, TalkRadio's website of the police dashing and pulling a guy away, and one guy said, "Oh, this guy's 95," and they handled him very gently and they moved him away. Those policemen did a good job, but the majority,
the young guy, they pulled him off vigorously.
Yeah, and fling him in the back of the van, because what you're doing is committing a violent act against people just by. If I stand and put my hand up in front of you and said, "You're not coming past."
Yeah,
that is actually a violent act.
It's almost kidnapping, because you're false imprisonment, isn't it? When you block someone. And there was a woman who got paralysed. You remember I think that was extinction on the motorway.
Yeah,
and I think she actually died from it. So I mean, that's the same result as a terrorist attack, isn't it? You're killing someone.
These are all the same people, and what I'm fed up with is that we allow the woke wallies, the people who basically used to be racist and aren't now, and telling us that we should be like that when we never were racist. So exactly, we're sensible human beings.
We just don't.
Guys, give me a ring. I mean, if you're an Extinction Rebellion sort of, I mean, I'm sorry, it is terrorism. I do not apologise at all.
You could block a bridge and kill someone like they did, you know, or the motorways. You could blow up a bridge as a terrorist and not kill anyone. As has happened. So, you know, it can still cost lives.
Yeah, but the law, the problem is, we don't have the laws to deal with it. Yes, you do.
They're there, yeah. Use them.
Use them.
Yeah.
Stop being so pussyfooting around them.
Yeah, they make a cup of tea and, do you want some biscuits?
I'm a vicar. I don't give a sugar what you are.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Get off the road. Look, if they carry on like this, then we are never going to clean the planet up. And I believe in cleaning the planet up.
It makes you not want to be green,
more
doesn't it?
respectful of where we live.
Yeah, it makes you want to be less respectful.
Well, I've been away on a very small island talking to people of their thoughts about it. They cannot. In fact, where I was sitting, an oil tanker came in, just down the beach a bit, every single day. And if that oil tanker didn't come in, people on that island couldn't heat their homes, couldn't cook, couldn't drive.
Yeah.
What are they supposed to do? You know, the world is not like it is here.
It was sunny, wasn't it? They could use solar.
The Chinese and the Russians are never, ever going to do what these prats are saying now. So it won't make any difference.
Well, they're the ones that are going to inherit the world.
There will be no net zero. Let me tell you that now. And by the way, forget banning cars. Electric cars will ruin this planet faster than anything else.
Yeah, they're rubbish.
Yeah.
Someone who had a 3 or 4 hour journey said it took them 11 hours because you have to queue and then the machine doesn't work and then you have to wait a few hours and then if it's a fast charger, it ruins the battery. Well,
apparently somebody who has one of these electric cars, bought one of the first ones, told me that it's 6 years old and the charge is getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah,
Said it's a bit like my mobile phone.
And try and sell that after. Because your replacement battery's like 10 grand or something. So it's basically a write-off once you know.
God, I'm so glad to be back on the air. I think the world has fallen apart because we haven't really been here. Although I hear you were working a bit while I wasn't here. What was all that about?
Yeah, I was working a bit, doing a bit
of experiments. Could they not find anyone to replace you?
No.
God.
They can't.
03444991000. Call us. We'll talk after.